The article I'm going to talk about is called Moving Through Imagined Space, Mentally Simulating Locomotion During Spatial Description Reading. It's by Brunyé, Caroline R. Mahoney, and Holly A. Taylor, and was published in Acta Psychologica in 2010. They were testing the processing differences between reading two ways of describing a physical space. When you give directions, you've got the option of explaining from a bird's eye, third-person survey perspective, or instead using a second-person route perspective. An example of describing something in the survey perspective is, in the northeast section of the zoo, south of the ticket booth, is the children's zoo. An example of describing something in the route perspective is, as soon as you enter the zoo, you see on your right the ticket booth. The entrance leads you directly into the children's zoo. The hypothesis here is that the readers would actually imagine themselves in the location of the route perspective, but not as much with the survey perspective. So how was this tested? Well, sounds were played while participants were reading either condition of the story. There were 4 possible sounds participants heard: a slow metronome, a fast metronome, walking speed footsteps, and running speed footsteps. The important one here is the running sound, which turned out to have no effect on participants reading survey perspective description, but did increase the reading speed for the route condition. Then, in the second experiment described in the article, the researchers found out that people reading the route condition while listening to the sound of running thought that the distances between locations were farther than the people who heard the sound of walking reading the same story did. As in, when they made a map later of the described space, they drew things farther apart. Again, it had no effect on people reading the survey description. So, the fact that the route condition readers were clearly influenced by sounds evocative of moving through a space, walking or running, that's what you do when you move through a space. The fact that they were influenced by that implies that they were, in fact, imagining themselves in that space, meaning the hypothesis seems correct.